I'm going to fire up Power BI Desktop. I should have it already running here. There we go. So this is Power BI Desktop. If your Power BI Desktop looks different than mine, it's because I've got the new ribbon experience turned on. You can turn that on in preview options in Power BI Desktop, but everything else is pretty much the same. And I'm going to start by going and getting data. And I'm going to use my SQL database that I use for gathering Twitter data. We have this our product TyGraph for Twitter that is used for events. We do this for ESPC, and it gathers Twitter conversations throughout. Well, as long as it's watching, it puts them in a SQL database, and we build a Power BI report that we publish for the world. The basics of how that is built can be seen right here. We can go and get data. I've just clicked on the get data option, and I'm going to grab a Azure SQL database. Actually, I'm going to do it. I'm going to type in Azure SQL. There we go. We have an Azure SQL database right here. I'm going to connect to it, and the first thing it wants to know is what's my Azure server, and just copying it from over here and punching it in here. And I could punch in the database. I'm going to select it in the next screen, so I'm not going to bother. And I have two options. Because we're dealing with a data source that has compute resources in behind it, I could choose to connect with direct query. I'm not going to do that because for this database, that would make my queries slow. But when I connect with direct query, I'm not storing data in a cache in the model. I'm going to be calculating or performing those queries against the source data in real time. So you only want to use that if you've got a very specific need. I'm going to go ahead and use import mode, which builds that data set that I was talking about. And we only have the one database on this particular server. I'm going to open up Twitter data. I'm going to collect tweets or select tweets. And that's the table I'm after. I'm not going to do much in the way of transformation. I'm just going to do a couple of things so you can see what. I don't want to spend too much time on it. But I'm going to, it popped up on another screen. I'm just going to bring over. So this is my Power Query Editor. And one of the first transformations I want to do is I'm going to restrict the amount of data that comes down. Maybe I don't want my data set to get too big, or I don't think older data is relevant. And I'm going to find my created at UTC time, field, which is when the tweet was created. And I'm going to filter that. I'm going to pick a little drop down here. And I'm just going to go into my date time filters, and I'm going to say, I just want everything that is after, let's see, I'm going to pick this little calendar control, and I'm just going to say after April. Let's go after April 1st. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and click OK. That's getting that data ready. And then I'm going to come over, I'm just going to scroll to the right, and you're going to see all of the tweet hashtags that we're monitoring. And we've got SharePoint, Teams, Power BI. And I'm just going to have a look. I just want to watch for this particular report, Power BI. So I'm just going to select that. I'm going to click OK. And that's all. I really should go in here and remove columns I don't need, etc. But I'm just going to go ahead, click close and apply. So we've just imported all of those tweets since April in here. And one of the things I want to do is to create a calculated measure. I'm going to create a very simple one. I'm going to just say what are the number of tweets. So I'm just right-clicked on my tweet table here. I'm going to click on New Measure, and that measure, I get the editor screen pop up here. It says Measure equals. I'm just going to call it Tweets equals. And this, by the way, is DAX. This is Data Analysis Expression Language. So when I'm at this point, I am building up my data model. The previous step was doing the ETL stuff and working within Power Query. This is Power Pivot. And the DAX is where we do our multi-dimensional analysis, and we do operations across rows here, essentially. So I want to know how many rows there are. Well, I just want to count them, and I can start typing, oh, count. Oh, look, there's a function for me, count rows. I'm just going to pick that. And it's asking for a table. The table name is tweets. And very simply, that's just going to give me the number of tweets that I have. So if I select check, that's great there. I'm going to come onto my surface, my report surface. I'm going to click on tweets. And I'm going to try to click on tweets. There we go. And I'm going to pick a different visual, and that'll show me there's about 15,000 tweets total that people have tweeted about Power BI since April. And if I wanted to see it over time, let's just very quickly do this. Let's go the number of tweets. That will be a column chart. Let's add now our created at in UTC. I'm not going to bother converting to local time to it. And you can see now we have tweets by year. I asked for a date and a time. What's happening? Well, over here, Power BI is creating automatically for me a date hierarchy. So it's broken out by year, quarter, and month. I don't want quarter. I'm going to get rid of that. So now I have year, month, and day. And I want to see how this trend has been going over time. So I'm just going to expand this over to the right-hand side. And I want to drill down on this, and I want to drill down across all my years. So I'm going to drill down all of the levels in the hierarchy, and you can see it's 2020 May there. And let's get down to the day level. And you can see those are the tweets since April 1st up until today for Power BI. From a formatting standpoint, I don't like the way the x-axis lays out like this. So I'm just going to come over here, click on my x-axis, and I'm going to turn off concatenate labels. And you can see it lays out, 2020 down below, the month up here. I really like the way this lays out. And you can see here are the tweets. Maybe one more thing. Let's add whether or not the tweet was a retweet to our chart. And I've got a column for that. I'm just going to drag that, put it in the legend. And now you can see it's separated. Those are side by side columns. I want a stacked column. There we go. And you can see what's going on with Power BI here. All of a sudden, boom, there's a big spike on the 6th and the 7th. Well, that was the Microsoft Business Application Summit, which was Wednesday last week. So as you might expect, all of the Power BI announcements were going out. There was a big spike in the number of reports. So from here, I've got a very, very basic report. I could publish this guy. I'll publish it. I'm not going to go ahead. I'm not going to bother publishing this one right now. It'll just take too much time. But essentially, I would select a workspace to work with, and then I could go in and just work with that workspace. I'm going to hit cancel here, and that's when it gets published out to the service. And when it's published out to the service, it should. No, I didn't build a report for it already. That's okay. I would come in here and look at the same report running within the service.